Taking a few months off to investigate this can be a lot of fun and really get your juices flowing again. You may, after that time, decide you want to be a coach or a mentor or join a board, something to keep your brain active, but a gap year can help you investigate that. The question is a gap year a good transition into retirement?
That's a good question. What's the answer?
The answer is, it depends.
What kind of answer is that?
Well, it's not very straightforward. The reality is that a gap year can be very good for many people entering retirement, but it can also be very dangerous. The danger is you start to let your guard down and start to include a lot of bad habits, and you may not have the discipline to break those bad habits when your gap year is over.
I took a gap year between high school and college.
And talk about bad habits.
There was very bad habits. But I was immature, and I really wasn't clear on what I wanted to do. I didn't even know if I wanted to go to college. But the other problem was my grades were so bad, I only got into one college when I applied. So I decided to take a year off. And what that did for me was, it's exactly what I needed.
I'm not sure if I knew all that. Would I have married you if I knew all that?
It doesn't matter. You married me for who I am, not for who I was.
Oh, good point.
But the thing is, I needed that gap year to motivate me to buckle down and head off to college. So it worked in that case.
So that was a younger gap year.
Yep.
So let's define gap year as a transition, into retirement as opposed to
high school.
A high school
Trying to
gap
take a
year
break.
or a
Yeah.
college gap year. One of the definitions that we've found is that, gap year can be considered a career break or a sabbatical from the work you are doing, and it is typically for 1 year, so it has a start and an end.
Right.
And the aim of an adult gap year is to assess and de-stress and reconnect with life at a different pace.
Right. But let's also talk about what it's not. And it's not, or really it shouldn't be, a chance to just eat whatever you want, drink as much as you want, watch TV all day, and sleep late for 12 months. Now, we know that some people entering retirement need a break, and maybe you do want to binge watch some TV, but you really have to be careful about how you do this and to make sure that you don't end up going down the wrong path.
But let's start with how it can be good for someone entering retirement. Today we're going to give you some scenarios where a gap year might be right for you. And at the end, we'll give you some thoughtful questions to ask just to be sure.
So, if you're entering or leaving your career and you're financially secure and you don't have to worry about money and your earned income has stopped, this might be a good scenario to take a gap year. You don't have to worry about receiving a paycheck, and it actually opens up limitless opportunities to take time off.
Now, we mentioned that because some people enter retirement and they still need some income, right? They still need to do some full or even part-time work that maybe is just different than their career. We highly recommend that you work with an independent financial planner to help you run some modelings to make sure that a gap year could be right for you.
So that's one scenario. Another scenario where a gap year might really be useful for you is if you're just plain old tired and you need a break. Because we get it. We actually entered this phase like this. We were burned out and we needed a break. And we did sort of a semi-retirement sabbatical, travel around the world, eat, drink, and be happy. And we had no schedule, no commitments, and no schedule and no commitments. And, we did watch a little bit of TV, but maybe that's what you need. And if that's what you need, that's okay.
And I think it's okay to say that we did it, but we only did it for 4 months
because
it was a short period of time when we realized we were really losing control. Because you have to be careful here. You should always have a start and an end date, right? We have more on this to come, but before we do the next scenario, for those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Jody Rollins.
And I'm Mark Rollins, and we started Retirement Transformed in 2017. Not only for us, but all of you and the other 10,000 people turning 65 every single day.
Now, we don't focus on the financial aspects of retirement, but rather lifestyle and health and relationships and much, much more.
Now, please do us a favor, especially if you're new. Hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button so that you get notified when our next video comes out.
Okay, so another scenario for taking a gap year may be that you just want a year of uninterrupted travel. This is a great time to step away from your career and before starting anything else, fulfill your travel passion.
Now, here's a tip we want to give you. Get a really good travel agent. Don't try to do this on your own.
And we have one. If you want it,
Right.
let us know.
Yeah, but get creative and live large. Maybe live in a foreign country for 3 months. Do that safari that you always wanted. Listen, we went to Bora Bora the year we retired. It was fantastic.
You know, some of the other things, and we've talked about this, although I haven't completely...
You're warming up to it.
I haven't completely
You're
bought
warming
into
up to it.
doing the drive across the country, you know, in an
motorhome.
Airstream or a motorhome.
Come on.
You know, ski in Chile during the summer, or take the entire family away. I mean, the options for travel could really be endless. Another reason to take a gap year is that you and your partner feel, or you may feel, that you just need more time to reconnect. While divorce rates in America are down, gray divorce, those over 60 years of age, is up from 10 years ago. So maybe during your careers you grew apart a little bit or lost some of the spark that may have existed when you first met. A gap year could be a good time
Should we
to
have
reconnect.
done that?
We did it for 4 months.
Did we need a gap year to reconnect?
Sounds like you need another gap year to reconnect.
Listen, if you do have a relationship concern with your partner, a gap year with some counseling might really be what you need. And also start thinking about doing some things together. Cooking, pickleball, golf. We just started cycling. Cycling's been great.
You know, you can really use a gap year to rebuild a new life for both of you. And don't forget, stay till the end and get some critical questions to ask yourself to be sure if this makes sense.
Now, another reason a gap year might make sense if you want to investigate starting a new business. This is the perfect reason to take a gap year. You know what? And the other thing we want to say, to be clear, is we keep saying gap year. It doesn't have to be a year. It could be a month. It could be 3 months. But it's deliberate. It typically has a beginning and an end.
We really can't stress that point enough.
Right.
You know, starting a new business can make all the difference in the world during your gap year. You can do your research, you can do your planning, you can do your finances, you know, or maybe one of your children has a business that you want to help them with and really do a plan.
Yeah.
Or you can get super involved or create a new nonprofit during your gap year.
Listen, we've built this business together, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So building this business has given me such fulfillment and enjoyment from beginning to where we are now.
You know, taking a few months off to investigate this can be a lot of fun and really get your juices flowing again. You know, you may, after that time, decide you want to be a coach or a mentor or join a board, something to keep your brain active, but a gap year can help you investigate that.
So here's another reason to take some time off after you retire, and I think this is great, is writing a book.
You're dying to do this.
I'm going to write a book, or we're going to write a book. We need to figure that part out. If when we do, we will. But I believe that everyone has at least one book in them. So if you've always wanted to write a book, listen to that voice and say, you know what, I can. It's not that hard to do. There's a lot of resources online.
And you know, we all show up in retirement with stories and experiences and so much more. Writing a book can help you, but it could also help others. You know, getting vulnerable on an illness or struggles you may have, or create a unique approach to a business that others would benefit from.
Yeah. Let's say you arrived in retirement and all you want to do is work on yourself.
That's another scenario.
That's another scenario. It's a perfect time to do this. You know, we all arrive at the end of our careers in different mindsets, in different stages of health and wellness. So this is a good time to say, you know what? I'm going to spend 12 months working on me.
You know, wouldn't it be great if you decided you wanted to build a new life for yourself, filled with new habits and routines to support a vision of wellness, really before you said yes to anything else? Use your gap year for that.
And we know too many people who arrive here at this phase out of shape, and what they do is they get worse. They gain more weight. They drink more than they used to. They start to get grumpy and lonely, and they lose friends. That we don't want that for you.
You know, we just finished our annual master class, and we took a cohort through our 11-week online course. 4 of the people in that cohort at the end of the course decided that a gap year was going to be for them. And they had a start date and an end date, and they all decided they wanted to work on themselves. 3 of the 4 said it was about their health and wellness, and 1 decided to take some graduate coursework to see where she could contribute moving forward.
And you did the same thing.
I did.
You've taken some courses, and I know you're going to take more. So we hope that this video has stimulated some thinking about the possibilities of taking some time off after your career. It's not for everyone, but certainly taking some time to access what you can do next can be really helpful.
And as promised, here are some critical questions to ask yourself to be sure it makes sense. First, why do you want to take a gap year? Write it down and be clear. Second, if it's travel, be clear where and why. Have a purpose behind your travel. Is it sitting on a beach, or is it historical trips, or is it adventure? Be clear with your intentions.
Third question is, if you have a partner, you want to make sure you're in alignment with him or her to make sure that what you're going to do during this gap time works for both of you. Doing something together is great, but just make sure that both of you are on the same page. And the other thing, we've said this before, really try hard to commit to a start date and an ending date. It's too easy for a gap phase just to go on way too long.
And then the 5th question is, do you have the discipline to get back into a life with healthy habits and routines so that your life doesn't run away for you? You know, really think, what is my master plan for this phase of life?
So again, we hope this has been helpful in giving you some insight on whether a gap year might work for you. For those transitioning into retirement, it's a chance to do everything that you've ever wanted to do during your working years and help you identify key components of a plan for retirement.
Listen, whether you're an empty nester or taking a golden gap year or even an early retirement, or perhaps you're a hotshot senior executive with a stressful business career, now is the perfect time to pull in the adventure you always dreamed of.
So if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you get notified when each of our new videos come out.
And finally, join our free Facebook community. The link is in the notes below.
Thanks for listening, and we look forward to being with you again soon.